Yo, welcome back,
Yo,
everybody.
we're back. Week to week.
Yep.
Liking it.
Yep. Is it going
Back
to
on
happen
track.
next week? No, it's not going to happen next week because I have a focus call next week on Tuesday. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
stuff.
Gives us time to build it up, get ready again.
Yeah.
Bank some issues. Do you still bank issues? Do you got like a notepad or anything like that for?
I've got like a note in my phone. I have I have a Discord that I'm the only member of. That I just so that I can send stuff back and forth between my computer and my phone, and so I usually send myself issues in that, and then sometimes I that's also where I'll like post recipes and different ideas for things. I'll just send it into that Discord so that I can go find it later.
I got a few of those. I got on my Signal. I've got group chats with just me, and I label them accordingly. So I've got like Whig issues, and I've got meme ideas, and I've got gift ideas for my wife and for my kids and stuff like that. Just so it's easy to look up, and I don't have to search through it too much. It's funny though. I keep adding to the Whig issues, and then like I haven't used one of those in a while because always on like the day of or like the day before I come up with something new.
Yeah,
that I want to deal with.
First
Still got the cough, by the way.
Yo, 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 my knickers.
I should turn on the comments over here so I can see them ahead of time.
Oh, I gotta
CPAP updates. Oh my gosh.
Gotta get that in. It's been last week's issue was surprisingly prescient because there's been a lot of the weaponizing, like that's just been ramped up and ramped up and ramped up.
Religion?
Yeah, that I just keep seeing. I saw a bunch of stuff. The bishop lady who spoke during Trump's inauguration.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that she was a $53 million recipient of U.S. aid money to
go figure
to resettle immigrants.
That story's hilarious, by the way. I that's well, the Catholic Church is bitching about it too because I think they get like 100 million or something.
And it's like, it's
that's why I don't give the Catholic charities very much.
Yeah. And there was a Lutheran church that was getting a bunch of money. This whole USAID thing,
it's blowing everything up,
real
man.
episode, but it's just like
it's the scratching the surface.
And the people defending it are like, well, it's only 0.1% of the budget. So it's like, well, then what the fuck are we wasting the other 99% of our money on? Because this shit needs to stop.
And the thing is like when you get arguments like we can't build a wall, that's too expensive. And then you go and you send like 10 times that to Ukraine and Israel over the course of a 3-year period. It's like,
yeah,
you did have the money.
There was one I saw today. I don't remember what country it was in Africa, but essentially they had sent like $50 million. The last reported of anything related to it was from 2020, and just in the last from January 20th to January 31st, they had sent another $750,000 to it's money to undisclosed payments, and it's like no. I worked for a city government at one point, and I had to fucking every dollar that I spent had to go get cataloged and coded via this fucking annoying code.
The whole thing is it's CIA dark money. That's what it is. And like I was watching Really Graceful on this, and she was saying like they part of the money went to the BBC, right? Yeah. So you're buying media favor in other countries, and the BBC has smeared people, including Really Graceful, like misquoting and all that kind of stuff, just to it's just CIA crap. It's just CIA crap, the whole thing. And like you saw that like the U.S. Treasury, so they're getting audited by Doge, and the head of it just resigned rather than like let them audit it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, listen, he wants to audit it so that you guys can stop wasting money and make it tighter, but they won't do it. And then it's caught fraudulent fraudulent payment left and right. Just like, man, as much as I dislike a lot of the stuff that Trump is doing, it's like this like left right. It's like you're getting slapped with one hand and you're getting your hair stroked with the other. It's like I'm getting good stuff and I'm getting shit stuff like all at the same time, and it's like I don't know what to make of this. It's too much. It's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's and then the going back to the guilting, people are like, well, these kids in Africa won't be able to exist without our generous donations. I'm like, yeah, I get that. I mean, if that's a shame. I'm not like a monster who lacks empathy, but I don't fucking care. I don't care if it's only $15 from me. It's my fucking $15. And if I had that $15 and more, I might donate to a charity. I'm not fucking donating to a charity in Africa. I'm going to donate to a charity here in St. Louis or wherever city I'm living in. But I'm fucking sick of it. Stop fucking taking my money and spending it on stupid shit. If you want to fucking donate, you fucking donate.
Here's the thing too, is like, when you go to like a national park and it's like, don't feed the animals.
Yes.
And it's like, why don't you say like, why not to feed the animals? Oh, because they'll become accustomed to it and then they'll stop losing their ability to hunt and forage. And you don't want to breed that dependence. And so when you're doing it in all these different countries, like, man, like foreign aid in general is just sucked up by like the warlords at the top and is just eaten up by administration. It never goes to anybody. I know, I've seen it on the ground here. I remember when there was a flood in Paraguay and like a bunch of people got displaced, like for the 800th time because they keep building their shacks right next to the river. And so they get moved to this other spot. I saw where the Red Cross was. I saw where like Doctors Without Borders were. I saw where UNICEF were. They were doing nothing. There was nothing. It was fucking horse shit. I was there literally, like we went to an event there that we did a wrestling event. I didn't do it. The previous guys who were doing wrestling in Paraguay before I started my company, they put on a free event to kind of entertain the kids who all have been displaced. And so I brought a bunch of like goods, like blankets and clothes and like diapers and like food and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't know where to donate it because like Red Cross had no office open. Like they were there, but there was nobody in it. There was a UNICEF thing. And nobody was there. And like it was, and I asked around, it was like, yeah, they didn't shit. And so it's like, when you throw your money towards these things, know that it's just getting sucked up and not being helped not helping anybody in any way. Like I don't mind disaster relief, but like most of the time disaster relief just turns into like, I don't know, human trafficking. So, like it's just like, it's like a way to like hide things. It's ridiculous. We should get this show on the road.
Yeah. Let me respond to this text real quick and then we'll jump into the regular episode.
Don't worry, Carl. I got a CPAP update. I love how that took over fish news.
You can never plan it. Oh, cool. This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by The Big Game. Be sure to be watching The Big Game next Sunday so that you can find out what movies you have to watch and what slop you need to drink and what other like snacks and fast food you need to shove down your hole. And oh yeah, I think there's like some sports or something happening there as well. Sports! Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get, from north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I am your host, Ted Burt, and with me today, joining me all the way from down south, it's your friend, El Chaco.
Hola, mi enchada. Tab, it's been a whole week
buddy?
since I talked to you, man. A whole week. 7 days. No, wait,
a busy
8 days. Because Because didn't we do
'Cause
it
we
on
did
like a
Monday.
Monday last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
How's it been going?
Good. I'm a sore man right now. I did the we did the weekend again in Asuncion. There was a mass. It was like a 7:30 p.m. mass, so we stayed over on Sunday and then came back on Monday. And like we do a lot of Airbnb, but it adds up over time, right? So there was this one Airbnb that we went to, which was like functional. It's like 2 bedrooms. It's got like this little galley kitchen, and if we're ever gonna, stay in Asuncion, but we're not gonna like spend a lot of time, it's an easy choice to go to because it's like in American dollars would be like $25.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. And so, we went, and it's got like the hardest beds. So I always have to bring our camping mats. And so for Captain Carl, who always wants a CPAP update, yes, I brought my CPAP. But that's not the CPAP update. See, my wife discovered something here in Asuncion. There's some sleep specialists, and one of the ladies who was trained in the US and worked in the US is operating down here, and she does a laser surgery for sleep apnea to cure it. Apparently, that's a thing. Because when I was in Canada, I don't know how it works. But they essentially, like, it's a tough one because my sleep apnea isn't weight related, even though I'm not exactly slender. It's not weight related because I broke my nose in high school and then it like healed wrong, and then I had to get it like rebroken as part of like the surgery. And so anyway, this I want to get this surgery, or I want to take a look at it at least, because like all I was offered in Canada was I could get the CPAP machine,
or they
pay for the nose for it, or they could do a surgery which may or may not work, which would involve like breaking my jaw and reforming my face basically. And I was like, and that would be covered by the government. I was like, I'll pass. I think I'm okay with that. Actually, my voice would sound different if I got that done. But so I want to look into this. But the thing is it's like $150 for the consult, but then the surgery itself is like 3,500 or 5,000 Canadian. So I was like, we'll see. I got all this stuff going on. I got an update on the land to come up in my issue. We got back from that. I had the most delicious burger ever. Like, Paraguay's burger game has really improved since we first came here in 2013. Because when we first came here in 2013, it was like, the thin, not that soft burger bun, and like all the like, pretty much like 60% soy protein, frozen puck patties. And then they would always put like a fried egg on it, which I actually don't mind. I
like a fried egg on a burger.
I don't mind it. And like a slice of ham and stuff. Like, it was okay, but I never ordered burgers then. But then like in our time away, 2 things got way better in Paraguay, and that was their artisan beer and their burgers. And so there's this place called La Burguesa, and this place is chef's kiss. Like, it would be in my top 3 if it was in Canada. It's so good. Like, they had this sriracha mayo and like a cheddar cheese bun that was like baked in house, and it was like, oh, it was so good. And it hit the spot. That was, we had it at an outdoor food park. There's a lot of those here, but the problem is like it's hot, man. It's really hot this time of year, and so we were sweating it out. So I was having the craft beer and this burger after the mass. So it was a nice way to tie it up. Then sleep on a rock hard bed and break my back and throw my neck out, which I didn't get worked on this morning. So tomorrow morning, that's my first order of business, is go to my RMT guy and get that straightened out. But how are you, man?
I'm good. It's been busy. We did a show, one of these week-long shows where so Monday we changed the space over I individually physically focused every single light in my light plot. I talked about that last week. And yeah, so then we had rehearsals, technical rehearsals, Tuesday through Thursday, show open Friday, 2 shows on Saturday. It was my friend's birthday, so then I went out and we celebrated their birthday on Saturday evening. Sunday I was so just wiped out that I just laid around the house all day. And then yesterday I also had the day off, and so I just mostly laid around the house all day. I went and did a couple of errands, went to the gym.
Did you watch
What?
any movies?
I did. I've watched a bunch of movies. I watched Airheads last night. I watched.
How does that hold up?
I have never seen it, so it was it was dumb, but it was like logical and enjoyable.
What'd you think of The Wrong Guy?
I thought The Wrong Guy was hilarious. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It was a really, for basically like a movie that's just a bunch of comedic scenes. It would be really easy for it to like fall into the territory of some of those movies where it just becomes so disjointed. It's like a road trip comedy.
Yeah,
but it was really nicely like threaded together how they did it.
It's well written.
Well written. Yeah. Everyone, I think I said to you in a text, I was like, I love the premise of movies like that where there's just lead in the water and all the characters are kind of stupid. Like Leslie Nielsen movies are kind of that way where everyone's kind of stupid.
Right.
Not so much The Naked Gun, but some of the other ones he's done. The Naked Gun, everyone is kind of aware that he's an idiot.
Yes.
But in some of his other
he doesn't
films,
play it like an idiot. Like he is an idiot, but he's serious.
Everyone in the world is kind of dumb.
Every character in The Wrong Guy though is like perfect. Like there's no dead weight in the movie, and it's got a rewatch value that's off the charts.
Yeah,
like a good comedy is one of those ones that you want to go back to
and laugh again.
Yeah, like we did a family movie night the other night, and we put on Dumb and Dumber. Right? Dumb and Dumber is a rewatchable movie. What are some other good like Spinal Tap? This is Spinal Tap is a good rewatchable.
This is Spinal Tap.
Oh, I love it, and I also, if you ever have you don't like it, but to anybody who does like it, if you get a chance to watch the DVD version of it, they do the entire commentary in character. It's perfect, and I'm trying to think. Like there's a few comedies out there. Like comedies are rewatchable when done right.
Biodome with Pauly Shore.
I've never seen Biodome.
It's dumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rhinestone.
Rhinestone, definitely rewatchable. Speaking of Rhinestone, I finished all the Creed movies and all the Rocky movies, and so I decided to go check out the Rambo movies. I've never been a Stallone fan. Like I have not seen a lot of Stallone movies. So Dick and I had done a commentary on First Blood, like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I rewatched that. And so that only counted as like a half movie in my score card.
Right, because you'd seen it.
And then I watched Rambo 2, and that's
the best one.
That was a shocking transition in like tone and meaning of the movie.
Rambo 2 is Rambo. Do you know what I mean? Like when Rambo 2 is like the video game, Rambo 2 is like the costume. Rambo 2 is like what Weird Al
the memes are.
Yeah, absolutely. Rambo 2 is Rambo.
Yeah. I felt like I kind of knew what happened in it already, though, because of the dream sequence in UHF.
Yeah,
he goes and
I was going to say Weird Al did that.
Yeah, Stanley Spadowski.
Okay, here's a Stallone movie that you may not have seen. Well, of course, there's like Cobra and Over the Top, but have you ever seen the original Death Race 2000?
Well, isn't that David Carey? Is Stallone in there?
Yes. Stallone is in it.
I don't. I might have seen it a long time ago, but
you got to rewatch it. That's a rewatchable movie.
Yeah.
The original Death Race 2000 is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's not even one of those so bad it's good, because it's actually good. It's funny. It's a commentary, I guess. And there's so many good parts of Death Race 2000. That would have been like what, 76? It was like pre-Rocky.
Like
yeah. And the strategic nudity is hilarious in it. Like, because you can tell that like they're trying to push the envelope with it, but then like actresses and actors are like covering themselves with their arms at different places, so they look really awkward in different parts. And
I watched this movie with Charlie Sheen called The Wraith, where there's like street racers out in Arizona
Was it
kill
good?
this guy, and then he comes back as like a ghost or an alien. I'm not really sure, in a souped up car and kills them all back. And it was fucking bizarre. It was bizarre because apparently it was filmed like in between weeks on Platoon. So Charlie Sheen was there for like a day, and he has less than 30 minutes of screen time. So then when he's like in the races and being the menacing ghost, it's just a guy in like this weird motorcycle suit and helmet, so you can't see his face. And then they'll cut to a scene where Charlie Sheen is like out at the beach talking to girls, and then he's like at the burger stand
being
talking to
Charlie
girls.
Sheen. Is his character named Charlie too?
I don't remember what his character's name was, but it was weird. It was a weird 80s one. But it's been a fun challenge to try and not like go back and just watch the same movies I've always watched and like try some new things.
Highly recommend that Death Race 2000 though, man.
Yeah.
You check that out again. That's a really good one.
I'll add it to the list. I might give
Have
myself
you-
like, if I watch it and realize that I haven't seen it, then I'll give myself a full points. But if I watch it and realize I have, I might give myself like a 75%. Right
That
now,
was a-
my score is
was-
93.33% this year. New movies.
That was one of those ones when I was like in junior high school. That would be like if you went and stayed over at your friend's house, that would be like a regular rental. That
Yeah.
one. And then there was this B movie sci-fi movie, which I don't know why we thought it was awesome. It wasn't, but it there was two of those. Like that was the era, like in the early 90s was the era of like straight to video sci-fi movies that didn't suck completely. And so there was a movie called Arena, which was like Bloodsport, but with like aliens. And then there was a Christopher Lambert movie called Fortress. Have you ever seen Fortress?
I've heard the name, but I don't know.
Oh, movie's fantastic. It's really good. I mean, again, it's like I have to go and rewatch it to see if it holds up. But like that was like on the regular. We would rent those three. So that one, and then from the comedy side of things, like have you seen you mentioned The Naked Gun? Have you seen any of the other like Zucker Abrams movies? Like, have you seen the Kentucky Fried Movie?
I think I've seen parts of the Kentucky Fried Movie. Top Secret's great.
Top Secret's great. Yeah, that one holds up.
I did not like Airplane. We tried to watch Airplane, and I was like, "This is not funny." I think
it has moments. It has moments,
but I think the thing is that all the moments are like have been out on the internet forever,
yeah.
And so I've essentially seen everything but the connecting glue, and the connecting glue sucks, and the jokes are all old.
There was another one, and again, like the problem with Kentucky Fried Movie is that like the it's all skits. It's just skits, and the ones that hit really hit, and the ones that don't drag on forever. And there's another one that I think was done by not the Zuckers, but like Abrams or whatever, the other guy, and it was called Amazon Women on the Moon. Have you ever seen that one?
I've heard the name, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. If you don't have to see the whole thing, it's got some good skits in it. But the best skit of them all is the opening skit, and it's starring Arsenio Hall. And it's just like it. I think you can probably find it on YouTube. Just the Arsenio Hall Amazon Women on the Moon skit, and it just builds and builds and builds, and it is phenomenal. It's really good. So
yeah,
you don't like Scorsese movies though.
I don't like Scorsese movies. No, yeah. I really like Shutter Island. It's not like the Coen brothers the same way, where like I really like Shutter Island, and Scorsese fans hate Shutter Island, and I really love the Lady Killers, and Coen brothers fans do not like the Lady Killers, and I really don't care from the rest of the Coen brothers. Like,
okay, then you might like After Hours.
Yeah,
you might like After Hours because it's never mentioned among Scorsese fans. But it's my favorite Scorsese movie. And I'm not going to say it's like The Wrong Guy, but it like in terms of like how farcical it is, but it is uncomfortable comedy all the way through and builds and builds and builds. And it's really funny. And it's one of those movies that could never exist today because of cell phones and ATMs.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's basically the guy goes to go on a date and his money flies out the window when he's in the cab and he has to find his way home and he can't get any money and he can't use a phone and nobody's helping him. And he runs into really weird people the whole time. And every single character in it is phenomenal. So,
Well, so kind of like The Gods Must Be Crazy, or They Call Me Bruce.
kind of like those. Yeah. It's just one of those like ones where you're like, it's cringe comedy because the whole time you're like, oh, I can't believe it's getting worse. Like it's just getting worse for this guy the whole time. And it's got Griffin Dunn. Do you remember Griffin Dunn?
I've heard the name, but I can't picture the face.
He was in An American Werewolf in London as the friend who died at the beginning.
Mm.
And like Griffin Dunn is great at everything. He's one of those actors who, whenever I see him in anything, he's always hitting it out of the park. It's him. And the other guy is Frank Whaley. Do you know Frank Whaley?
I think I heard the name, but can't picture him.
He was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
played,
okay, I recognize.
He played Brad. You know, the guy who was like, what? You know, like that guy. Like whenever you see him in anything, he's always great. And he did a movie called Career Opportunities with Jennifer Connelly. Which is also a really good movie where basically he's like plays a Target employee who gets locked in overnight. Again, it's a simple, stupid premise, but the guy nails it out of the park. And he was also in another really good movie called Swimming with Sharks, starring Kevin Spacey. And it was all about working for basically working for Weinstein.
Well, that's who Kevin Spacey is. He's the gay
basically, and he plays basically the Weinstein character, and he's awful. And it's great. It's a underrated movie. So,
yeah. Well, you ready to get in some issues?
We should, before we bore everybody to death with my terrible movie tastes and whatnot. Here's what I don't get: Delulus. Okay, I just learned this like word Delulu from my kids earlier tonight because I was originally going to call my my issue the delusionals.
Yeah.
So basically people who are just straight up delusional. So basically somebody who has unrealistic expectations or beliefs, and they're like strong beliefs, you know, like they will not let go of them. And I'm dealing with Delulus right now because we got word just this morning that we once again won. And
shocking.
The judge has thrown out their appeal. And as of yesterday, they have 10 days to vacate peacefully from the property, which would put that, and because they don't count weekends, that would put that at next Friday. So if they do not leave peacefully by next Friday, then the police have to come. And then and not just the regular police, like they have these ones they call blue helmets here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like the brute squad. And those guys got to come, and the George, but it's like, in order to get them to do their job, I have to like pay for an order to get that done. Like, does not seem wrong.
That does seem wrong.
It's a little bit of a corrupt third world government type thing, you know.
Yeah, well,
a little wrong.
You could live in the land of the free and home of the brave, where a mayor just decides like all these people breaking the law and obstructing traffic are really no big deal at all, and the cops can just go home.
Oh, come on. I'm not living in Los Angeles, you know, like, but like, yeah. So they're delusional because just yesterday I got bored that just this evening, actually, the old lady has been going and talking to all the neighbors and telling them how evil Don Joel is and mean. And then they're going to have to live on the streets. And it's like, you don't have to live on the street. You've had 19 children. Just talk to your friends. Like, this is the thing, man. Okay, I used to have this belief about homeless people where it's like you're either medically unwell, like mentally, medically unwell that require care and supervision, or you're a supreme asshole who has burned all your bridges and hasn't, you know, like, okay, we've all been poor, right?
Yeah.
we've all you've had the fear, right? Like, have you ever had the fear where you're like, crap, man, like I don't get paid until like next Thursday and I've got like $22 to get me there and I got to figure out how I'm going to get there, right? Like, you know, that's like the beginning of adulthood, is like to figure out, like, when you get the fear, when you learn how to like stretch an onion and rice and some curry powder
Yeah.
over like a multiple day period. Okay. So what I don't understand about these people is you've had a year to prepare. You have had you rejected my offer that would have given you money and another place to live. You have gone to the community, and the community has given you money, which you have given to your lawyer, who told you have not a chance in hell of winning, and you did it anyway. And now she's flat out telling everybody, we're not going to leave peacefully. They were burning garbage last night. Again, there is still garbage on the other side of the fence right by where I'm at. And what I don't understand is, you've lost. You know you're going to have to go eventually. Like, this is how retarded they are. They honestly believe if they keep fighting back, that I'll just let them live on my property forever.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, because the thing is like, I think there's been a rise in Delulus in the world. I mean, we've talked about narcissism before. We've talked about different like social behaviors and whatnot. But like, delusional people are on the rise, like big time. Like Rachel Zegler, the actress who's playing Snow White.
Yeah.
In the upcoming,
and just shitting on everyone that she possibly can to get there.
But thinks that like people like that.
Yeah.
Like, actually thinks that that's going to help her career.
Is shocked that people are not taking to being called assholes and having this like beloved property shit on by the new star, and not just being like, yes, go girl.
Just like that Amanda Stenberg or whatever, the one from The Acolyte. She like did a diss track.
Yeah.
You know, like flaunting her ass in the diss track. And it's like, who are your handlers? Who is telling you that this is a good idea? And you know, going back to like last week, we were talking about this trade war, you know, between Canada and the United States, and it was building up big time.
Yeah. Well, there was a chance you weren't going to be able to be on the show because it was going to cost us 25% extra to have you on StreamYard.
Exactly. Yeah. You would have to pay the government for my services, and then I, in return, would have to cut you off because of Team Canada.
Yeah.
Now, Justin Trudeau is hands down the worst prime minister that the Canadian government has ever had. Canada has never had a worse prime minister. We've never had a worse pope, and we've never had a worse prime minister. This is the end times, folks. And when Justin Trudeau started his tyranny, he pronounced that Canada was the first post-national state. Like, we're not a nation. Like, we're a multicultural society. There is no nation of Canada. So he decided that for us. I don't remember that being on his election ticket.
Yeah.
I don't remember that referendum. I missed that one, that plebiscite. But he openly stated that there is no such thing as like a Canadian people. But then whenever he does something ridiculous, like prevent people from going on airplanes or in restaurants or on trains or in gyms because they didn't take the jibby jab, then all of a sudden he would talk like, for Canadians. Canadians want this. Canadians want that. Completely delusional. Then on top of it, with this trade war, we've got, so he light resigned because he's still in power until they find a new leader of the Liberal Party. So he prorogued government, meaning there's no parliament, debates. Nothing's getting passed. Nothing's going through. And he basically shut down government to stay in power.
Mm-hmm.
And then when this came up, every single fucking politician in Canada, with the exception of the premier of Alberta, was they were putting out these memes called Team Canada. We're Team Canada. We're going to push back. We're going to do counter tariffs. And it's like, that shit is delusional.
Yeah.
That is so delusional. Do you have any idea how much Canada depends on the United States? Okay. Canada produces a lot of oil, but it produces crude oil. It doesn't have the refineries to refine the oil for themselves. Where are those refineries? They're in the United States. They take a discount on the price because the United States is the only place that will take your oil, because Justin Trudeau said that it was environmentally hazardous to have oil tankers going off of the coastlines. They blocked the Energy East pipeline, so we can't send it out to the east. So that means Eastern Canada, where most of the population is, are getting their oil from places like Saudi Arabia and from the Middle East. So this idea that somehow slapping tariffs onto American products in Canada is a good idea, that it'll somehow hurt the United States. Guys, Canada is roughly 40 million people. Okay? California has more people than all of Canada. That roughly. I think California is what, 35, 40 million people?
I don't think that those.
It's pretty high. So you're not going to make a dent. They don't care. You have to understand, Canada is a dumping ground for American products. They put those products in Canada because they've already sold enough in the United States. They don't care.
Well,
the culture is dumped on
the
Canada.
thing that I love seeing was like Canadian stores taking in stock non-tariff stuff off the shelves to create this illusion that something terrible had happened. It's like nothing's happened yet.
You've already paid for this. Yeah. You've already paid for this. The LCBO, which is the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, because they're like socialist there, and so all of their liquor stores are all owned by the government. So they had already bought the product, and then they're taking them off the shelves so that the politicians can drink them behind the scenes.
No, or that they can put them back on shelves once the tariffs have gone into effect and sell them at the new tariff price and pocket a lot more profit right there on the front end.
Well, and this is the other thing. Like I'm a hockey fan. My Calgary Flames are playing Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. I hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. But what's a good thing is there won't be an American national anthem sang there. Yeah. Because these delusional, stupid hockey fans in Ottawa, Vancouver, and a little bit in Calgary were booing the American national anthem.
Yeah.
Real fucking great, guys. Real great. That's just that'll send them a message, because they're all watching hockey. Like, come on. This is the other thing. It's the other thing is like these TikTokers. And there was this one, I think her name was like Molly Rudder. And she's like 400 pounds. Easy, 400 pounds. She's catfishing dudes on like dates with like photos of herself from like 7 years ago when she was like thin. Then she goes out on dates and then streams when the guy goes to the bathroom or right afterwards or in between to shit all over him like he's not worthy. And then like doesn't even dress up, doesn't do anything. Like these people who call themselves influencers, who believe that they actually influence things because of your fake numbers on TikTok. Because let me get you something. Most of TikTok is fake.
Yeah.
Most of TikTok is fake. You think you got 1 million views? You didn't.
I still don't understand how the influencer thing works. Like, who are you influencing, and how does that somehow translate into you making money? Like, you post a TikTok of you talking about something, and then companies are tripping over themselves to send you money.
I don't know how it works, because I've been on TikTok because I have to for Mas Lucha Paraguay.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen any ads. So where's the revenue?
Yeah.
And so at least on X, that one makes a little bit of sense, right? Because that one's like revenue sharing. So like, okay, so if you're gonna be on X and you want to make money off of it, which is really hard, you need to have a verified account. You need to have 500 verified followers, and you need to have had 5 million impressions over the last 3 months. That's a pretty high bar. Most people aren't going to get there. But they include that 500 verified followers thing because most of those people aren't going to make those numbers. But they're paying their $8 or whatever a month to be a verified account. So it makes a little sense that they can cut off a little bit of revenue for the people that are making those people come back. And the impressions is showing that, yeah, people are looking at your stuff. So that makes a little bit of sense. Mm-hmm. TikTok does not make sense. No. YouTube makes even littler sense because most of the time I'm just skipping the ads. How are you making money off of me skipping the ads? I don't know how you're making money off of me skipping the ads, although they're making it harder and harder to skip the ads on these things.
Yeah, I saw one that was a 60-minute video, an unskippable ad on something, and it was like, yeah, this is exactly why I only watch YouTube on my PC with an ad blocker on. Speaking, so you're talking about a 400-pound TikToker, like a huge swath of the population of delusional Delulus is like the fat people, and specifically the fat acceptance movement that's been going on for years. Like I see these, the one that drives me the most insane are the fat people on airplanes. And they're like, this
the
isn't
lip lady.
fair. I shouldn't have to be uncomfortable when I fly because of my size. And I watch that and I'm just like, I'm so astounded because I've talked about 100 times before on the show. I hate flying. I hate flying because I'm too tall to fit in the fucking seats.
Dude, I'm 6 feet tall and I'm too tall for those seats.
Yeah, I can't do anything about that. I didn't make any choices in my life that made my legs not fit between the back of the seat in front of me and the back of the seat that I'm sitting in.
Well, you got a Delulu in front of you that thinks that leaning their chair back is totally fine.
Yeah, 3/4 of an inch is this is luxury. And then you have but I've never had to go ask for a seatbelt extender or spilled into another person's seat, even at my heaviest. And these fucking 400-pound people are crammed into 2 seats. And I just I want to scream into space because you shouldn't get to fly. If you need to be taken somewhere, get on a fucking flatbed truck. But they've completely fooled themselves into thinking that what their lifestyle is, exercise is hard and I can't possibly lose this weight, and I diet and I exercise, and it's like you're drinking 35 gallons of Diet Coke. It's causing your body to think that you're drinking sugar because it's an artificial sweetener. And it's like, well, I better start fucking pumping insulin in like motherfucking crazy, and then your body stores the excess calories as fat. Like the Lyft lady suing Lyft which is also fucking crazy because it's like, I remember when rideshare stuff started, now 10 or 15 years ago. And the idea was, I'm on my way to work. I live here. I work 10 miles north. If I can find someone who's kind of near me and kind of near work,
split the cost.
I can give that guy a ride for 10 or 15 bucks. And now I've made some money. And then it really quickly became, a career. And you were just a taxi driver without having to get a hacker's license. But it's your car. It's your car. And
you'd be able to refuse, but you can't.
It's one thing so my cousin is actually
fired. That guy got fired.
Yeah, that guy got fired. Sued. My cousin sued, was involved in a lawsuit with, I think, Uber and Lyft because a lot of drivers were refusing service dogs. And my cousin's blind, and her service dog is like an actual guide dog, an actual trained guide dog. Which is
probably because of 99 out of 100 of these people with their emotional support dogs, and it's annoying, right?
But again, it's a disability that's not a choice. My cousin didn't decide to be blind,
right?
But this fat lady was like, I need to get in the back. I need to cram myself in the back of your Honda Civic. It's like, no, you need to order a minivan. You need to specifically put in there that you need a fucking minivan.
She's over 400 pounds.
Oh,
and that's not even the most delusional thing. She's a rapper.
No, that's not the most delusional thing.
Oh, okay.
She has an OnlyFans. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, that GIF from Team America just vomit. It's like, who would possibly want to see that? Like, are you posting it into the ocean and getting the humpbacks clicking?
Well, it's the same as like, okay, another like extremely large black lady did you see this video of that lady who got caught embezzling over around $2 million from her company that she was working at?
No.
And like so it's the cops come to her door and they got a warrant and she's acting all, like they do, and not letting them in. And then they end up going in. But the whole thing is she's acting like what's wrong? Why would you think that? But they like found her phone and it was like she was looking up stuff like, how can I prove that I didn't, I didn't misappropriate funds or something like she was like actually looking up her own thing. And it's just this delusion that you're somehow entitled just because of your social economic status that you can just steal and that's somehow okay. And that's somehow okay. Okay, so here's another one. Here's another famous person. Kanye.
Yeah.
Talk about the most delusional person on the planet.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy is like, man, remember when Michael Jackson was the weird one?
Yeah.
Remember when Michael Jackson was the one where you're like, wow, I can't believe that headline about Michael Jackson. But Ye keeps on doing it. Right? Ye keeps on doing it.
He's like a ping pong ball. He's like offended by one side, and then he's offended by the other side, and then he's back to this side, and he's back to
this guy. See, I started calling him out when it was very clear he was like doing the fake Christian thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He went on this big thing about Christianity, which apparently was a tax avoidance scam. And he was doing like these Christian services in the desert. Which is funny because there's a passage in the book of Matthew where Jesus is literally saying, like, if they tell you to go into the desert, don't go. And he does this whole I'm Reformed Christian thing. That was when he was still with Kim Kardashian. But then, like, now he's such a coomer. He's such a coomer. And it's funny because, like, so the big news over the weekend was he brought his like wife. I thought they had broken up, but he brought his wife, who's clearly his like CIA handler, who is like, made out of the Kim Kardashian clone factory, but without clothes all the time.
Yeah.
And so she shows up at this like award ceremony with a dress on that's not a dress. It was like the Emperor's New Clothes.
Yeah.
Right. Now, here's the thing. So, like, okay, so where's the outrage? There's a little bit, but not really. And I pointed this out to my wife. I said, he gets away with it because he's black, And she goes, what do you mean? I said, okay, imagine Johnny Depp shows up at an award ceremony with his girl and has her wearing basically nothing. Imagine Jason Statham does that. Imagine who else is there out there? Robert Downey Jr. does that. Would it be acceptable? Would we laugh it off? Would it be, would it be like, oh, that was wacky? No, they'd be calling for his head.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. But because Kanye is, and we get a different result. And so, and then like back on the delusional side of things, man, oh man, like politicians take the cake on this though. Like even just like this whole thing with USAID. And then you got that Raskin character who said that they would immediately impeach Trump on day one if he got elected. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Part of the tribe. And he is out there and he's saying like, oh, you can't, Congress controls where the money goes and all this kind of stuff. You don't have the authority to do all this kind of stuff. And it's like, you're not going to do shit.
Yeah.
You're not going to do shit because you never do shit. None of you are doing anything. You're all delusional.
And then, I saw a really great one. Chuck Schumer's all over Twitter, just being like,
Part of the tribe.
our avocados. Here's your beer is going to be more expensive for the Super Bowl, and your avocados. And you know what? You know what's in guacamole? But then you see photos of them like laughing and shaking hands behind closed doors in the White House with Donald Trump, and it's like, kind of like this whole fucking thing is just play acting at the very best, or you're all just kind of so wrapped up in the storyline that you have tricked yourself into believing or not believing, depending on how it needs to happen for the moment.
It goes on both sides. Like, look, man. Is Trump doing some cool stuff right now? Yes. Is he doing some fucking evil stuff right now? Also, yes. And like the other thing is like you get this hardline thing where he can do no wrong. Like he has a cult of personality. There are people that will let him get away with literally everything. And you can show clips of like full in context clips of what he's saying. And they're like, well, he didn't actually mean that. And all that kind of stuff. Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But the thing is that you guys got to, you can't just deny that these things are being said and done. And you're okay. Is he going to deport the hundreds of like you and I were talking before? It's how many illegal immigrants are in the United States right now? It's tens of millions, maybe 100 million people.
Yeah,
like it's an insane amount of people.
It's a lot more than
what 800 a day. Not going to happen. You're never going to get rid of the problem. It's a delusional fantasy. Then you got the Q people who are like, it's all going according to the plan. It's all going according to the plan. You watch, and he's doing it. Look at Elon and a Doge. They're going in there, and they're taking out the USA ID. Tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. And believe me when I say this, this is your bread and circuses. This is your bread and circuses. You're getting the little crumbs that are making you feel happy
for a little victory, so that you're like, oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, you're getting these executive orders that are nightmare fuel that are happening in there. It's delusional. It's delusional. It's sad to me because the thing is that a delusional person, a delulu, often will have the blinders on, and they just will not listen to reason about anything new or anything important that will impact their view on anything. Like it's just so straight on there. You cannot convince them otherwise. So with my neighbors, it doesn't matter that they've lost twice, that they have no documentation, that like 800 people have told them you should just leave peacefully. They're going right to the distance, and I'm going to have blue helmets and police. Should I film that? I should.
Yes.
You
should film it at the very least for your own protection.
Yeah, probably a good idea. I should have the body cam footage. Speaking of delusionals, like the other thing is a lot of these like YouTube personalities and like e-celebs. Like, do you remember that Styx Hexenhammer guy?
Yeah. Yes.
Styx Hexenhammer, 666. I remember early days of this show. He was on my list. I was going to try to get him on the show because, like, at that time it was like anti-woke and at that time pro-Trump. And this guy like went on this Christian arc, and then he came back to his Satanism, and now he's bragging because like he's got like charges against him for domestic abuse, and rather than act like a sane person and you try to defend yourself, he is boasting online that he cast a spell on the DA and who's in New Orleans. And now he's claiming victory over New Orleans getting snow and that DA killing himself. And it's like, all right, yeah. You did all of that. Delusional.
Yeah. Another big one in the YouTube realm, the one that I had to stop watching, was all of these like Midnight's Edge and Doomcock and all those guys. They were just like,
oh, goodness.
Kathleen Kennedy's going to be fired from Disney any minute now.
A million times.
Alex Kurtzman's going to get fired from Star Trek any minute now, and they're going to redo. And then like they just make these predictions that never come true, and people keep our secret contact on the inside told me this thing, and it's like, How are people really still watching this and thinking
Yes.
that this is interesting?
I got a guy I
they
talked to
do.
down here, and he's like, dude, he's been right more than he's been wrong. I'm like, he's wrong enough for you to not watch it,
Yeah.
right? Like, he's wrong enough for you to not. Doomcock is definitely wrong enough that I don't watch him ever. It's pointless. It's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
You know?
And the way, and I've talked about this before too, with that whole subsystem in YouTube of people just like, I watched the Section 31 movie. It was dog shit. Like, yeah, you knew it was gonna be dog shit. Why did you waste your time? Like, we watched every episode of the new season of Lord of the Rings, and it was dog shit. Like, yeah,
Why
we all knew that.
It's because people want to hate watch without hate watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's again, it's this, and the other thing, the delusional side of things is like, who are these producers and these movie execs that think that it's a good idea to reboot all these things and remake all these things?
Antagonize your audience.
It's like, how many losses do you need to take, Disney? The Snow White one's going to be a catastrophe. The new Fantastic Four is going to be a catastrophe. Captain America is a catastrophe, right? Like, how many more? How many more are you going to do? And when you know the formula that works, you're just not doing it.
Yeah.
You know the formula that works, you're not doing it. And yeah, oh man, it's delusional. The people that were saying all the time that, like, who is that really fat lady, the black lady who played that like really rare flute? Lizzo. Like, the people are like, Lizzo's beautiful. Lizzo's a heartthrob. She's a real attractive piece of work.
We did bully her into losing weight, so that's one big W for the internet.
I'm just saying, it's like, man, the amount of dishonesty that people have these days, like, honesty has been scarce. And the saddest thing is that most people are not honest with themselves, and it's a problem that's getting worse. So that's my issue, Delulus.
That's a great issue.
Thanks, man.
That takes us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for the unreality news. This is news that's not from reality, if you can believe it. I believe you said you had a news story.
Yeah, I got a couple of them. All right. I got good news for my Scottish bloodline. My fellow Scots that are in Scotland. Cats won't be banned in Scotland, the government confirms.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Apparently that was a close call. The Scottish government wants everyone to know it does not plan to ban cats. First Minister John Swinney was forced to issue the statement after a report by independent experts, delusional, branded felines a threat to Scotland's wildlife and suggested containment measures must be considered to reduce the damage. The Scottish Animal Welfare Commission said cats kill at least 700 million birds and other animals each year in the UK. I've
heard this on that statement so many times, and I just don't believe it at all.
700 million. That is a Holocaust times 100 and 100 and some.
People have been condemning like domestic house cats for killing birds, and it's like, if a birds can fly, if a cat catches a bird, that's a bird you don't want in the gene pool,
right?
And I've seen videos of, like, domestic cats catching birds, and it's impressive, but it's never like one bird in the lawn. It's like a whole shitload of them, and it goes running in, like, just catches the slowest one.
Yeah,
that's nature.
I've owned cat before, and I've actually owned 2 cats. I don't remember. They would occasionally bring me back a present, but this isn't an everyday thing. We're talking, like, if we're getting up to 700 million birds and other animals each year in the UK. No, they throw in the other animals. Okay, one of the benefits of having a cat is it kills the mice.
Yeah,
it kills mice and rats, and it does a job.
Yeah, it's almost 2,000 animals per day. I wonder how many cats there are in the UK.
So basically, yeah, the report that talked about this cat containment measures could also include restrictions on introducing cats to households in vulnerable areas, interpreted by some as effectively a ban. So the Scottish government had to say it would fully consider the recommendations. And in a nation of animal lovers, the suggestions spawned alarming headlines, with the Daily Mail reporting. Oh, yeah, the Daily Mail. That's great news. Excellence right there. Fury as households in Scotland could be banned from getting a pet cat. The Scottish Daily Express branded the idea as a madcap scheme. And Switty, who heads Scotland's semi-autonomous Edinburgh-based government, spoke to journalists to defend the administration's pro-feline credentials. Let me just be clear to this. I can't do the accent, but I should. Nah, but I shouldn't. I'll just insult all of Scotland. And let me just be clear today. No, it's terrible. He said on Monday, the government's not going to be banning cats or restricting cats. We've no intention of doing so. And we will now I'm starting to sound like an Indian. And we will not be doing it. Anyway, so Scotland, you can still have your cats. So
12 million cats in the UK, according to the internet. So
12 million.
If there's 12 million cats and they're really these like incredible predators, I feel like the 700,000 number should be way
700
higher.
million. 700 million.
700 million.
700 million is what they collect every year.
My math was
That's
way
close
off.
to a billion. Close to a billion birds and other animals, and they throw that in other animals. Close to a billion. That's insane.
Almost 60 birds per cat per year. There's no way. There's no way.
The thing is it's a bird holocaust. So don't bring out your calculator because you might get in trouble for that. So let's move on. Did you bring in? You brought in a news story.
I've got a new news story. So we just had Groundhog's Day, and anybody who listens to the show knows how much I hate the fucking groundhog.
Mm-hmm.
So a NOAA study, I don't know what NOAA stands for, did a study ranking groundhogs for their weather predicting accuracy. The most famous of groundhogs, Punxsutawney Phil, didn't even crack the top 10. The most accurate weather predictor of the bunch was found to be the Staten Island Chuck, who accurately predicted the arrival of spring 85% of the time. The rest of the top 5 were Georgia's General Beauregard Lee, which is probably being put down as we speak. The Wyoming prairie dog statue named Lander Lil with 75%. A mythical West Virginia groundhog named Concord Charlie at 65%. Illinois Gertie at 65%. Punxsutawney Phil was all the way down in 17th place with only 35% accuracy. And yet we have a big fucking parade and a news story about this stupid, fat, ugly rat every year seeing its own fucking shadow while those dipshits in their stupid top hats talk to it like it's a human being and it's lived forever. I said it before and I said it again. Intercontinental ballistic missile straight into fucking whatever Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Wipe that fucking place off of the fucking map. Russia, if you're listening to the episode, Putin, send the missiles. We won't retaliate. Fuck this fucking groundhog.
Russia's not listening because we weren't still in the cool kids club when they were apparently dishing out money to like all those like YouTubers and stuff.
Yeah, that's a shame.
A few of them were on our show before, but
yeah,
no connection otherwise. I got a third one.
Cool.
All right. New Zealand's Mount Taranaki is now legally a person.
Oh, good.
Mount Taranaki joins Tararara, a vast native forest on the North Island and the Wanganui River, in being recognized as people under New Zealand's laws. New Zealand, what the hell? A mountain in New Zealand is now legally recognized as a person after being granted all the rights and responsibilities of a human by the government, which means it can vote. The new law,
taxes.
It better be. It better be. The new law offers extra protection for Mount Taranaki, now known as Taranaki Maunga. It's Maori name. And means it has all the rights, powers, duties, and responsibilities of a person. It is part of an agreement between New Zealand's government and the indigenous Maori tribes, which have long considered the 8,261 foot mountain and ancestor. Delulus, big problem, big issue. The mountain's legal personality has a name to Kahui Tapua. Man, the pandering, it will never stop, will it?
No.
It will never stop. Which the law views as a living and indivisible whole. It includes Taranaki and its surrounding peaks and land, incorporating all their physical and metaphysical elements. 4 members of the local Maori, Iwi, or tribes. How much money did they get for this? And 4 others appointed by the country's conservation minister will make up a new entity that acts as, quote unquote, the face and voice of the mountain. So
good.
it's got a guardian. It's got
another little political action committee that can have money donated to it to go nowhere.
And the bill passed unanimously through Parliament.
Of course,
unanimously. Did they do the haka dance after? I mean, because I saw that
so.
They did that haka dance when they were mad that everybody was going to be treated equally.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I can't read this anymore because Maori pissed me off. So I'm just gonna end that one there because screw the All Blacks.
Well, this has been Unreality News. News from a reality different than your own, because you live in regular reality. Ooh. And that takes care of our news segment this week, but it doesn't take care of paying for StreamYard and the website. And if you want to help with that, you can visit us at patreon.com/HWIG, which stands for
Here's What I Don't Get,
which is the name of the show. And over there, we have 2 tiers. It's very simple now. We have the $1 tier, which gets you access to the show. And it's just a way to say, hey, I support the show. I like what you guys are doing. Then we have a $5 tier where you give a little bit more. We'll throw out some bonus content your way. And both of them are helping keep the show as a cost-neutral hobby instead of a expensive hobby. It's not really an expensive hobby, but we do help appreciate the sport. So
I gotta give you some credit, some kudos, by the way. I like that you put out like a reminder the day before that like it would start back up again, so that people, if they wanted to cancel that they had from before when it was getting rebooted up, because there's some shady people that do some shady things with Patreon. Like I had there's this one YouTuber, I won't say his name because I don't want to disappoint people, but he was doing this thing where he was doing a signed copy of his best-selling book to anybody who pledged $100 or more by the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like I got down to the end of the month. I was like, you know what? Boom. I'm going to do that. I want to, $100 for a signed copy of his book. It might be worth something down the road. So I did that. Boom. Out comes $100. Next day, boom, out goes the extra $100. I was like, come on. Like kind of got me off guard there, I guess, but I should have known better. It was an instant $100 and an instant $100 the next day. And I was like, okay, I'm canceling. He's like, then he writes a personal, why are you canceling? I'm like, come on, man. We know what
you got $200.
You got $200 for a book that you sell for $30 and you slap some extra ink on it. So
yeah. And if anyone was charged this month for February and doesn't want to be charged at the rate that they were charged, just shoot us a message on Patreon, Discord, whatever, and I'm happy to refund whatever the charges were if they were erroneous. I've done that for a few people already. So
cool.
We're not trying to screw anybody out of their dollars.
Not at all.
Not in this economy. Woo!
But if you're coming from Canada, it's going to be done in American dollars, and there's a 25% tariff on top of it. So you're paying the tariff. Yeah.
But yes, thank you to all of our patrons over the years for supporting the show. It has kept it alive now. 371 episodes, 7 years, almost 8 years. It's hard to remember anymore. This is we're in year 8 now. So the end of this year will be year 9.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's like the show is only slightly younger than my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So back into some issues. Here's what I don't get. The Project Slippery Slope. We have all fallen prey to the Project Slippery Slope, and any man who claims that he completely planned start to finish and executed his like home improvement project without having to go back to Home Depot or Lowe's is a dirty, filthy liar. So a couple months ago, someone posted on Craigslist this really nice, like a really high quality ceiling fan. It has like a digital controller that goes where the light switch goes, and my bedroom doesn't have a ceiling fan. It just has like a regular light, and I'm a hot sleeper during the summer, especially. I always want a ceiling fan in the room. I've kind of worked around it the last few years by having like it's kind of a box fan, but it can tilt. It's a nicer box fan, I guess, and it's plugged into a smart switch, so I can turn it on and off from my phone when I'm in bed. But I can't control the speed. It's just on or off. So I set it at like a good speed, and that's it. That's what it is.
Mhm.
But I kind of like the gentle, circulation of a ceiling fan more.
Yeah.
So the ceiling fan pops up on Craigslist. They're giving it away for free. It's right by my work. I sent them an email. I'm like, hey, I'd really like this. I can pick it up tonight on my way home from work. It's going to be late, or I can pick it up tomorrow on my way to work. And they're like, yeah, we'll leave it on the porch. You can pick it up. So I go pick it up. It's got all the pieces there. It's in really.
I know where
great
this is
condition.
going, by the way. I know where this is going because I've had this exact same adventures. Keep
Yeah.
going. Keep going.
So
These events are no joke.
it ends up just sitting in the back of the car for several months, just driving around. I never took it out. I finally took it out of the car a couple weeks ago, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and install this. So I go up, climb on my bed, take down the the old light fixture, and it doesn't have a junction box in there. It has this like weird metal plate thing, and I'm like, I think this
and just two wires sticking out, right? Just two wires.
I think that maybe the ceiling fan can stick to this plate, and I go looking and invest. No, it sure can't.
No.
So in messing around with that, I end up pulling that plate out of the ceiling and climbing up into the attic several times to like find the hole and find the wires and figure out that like I need to install a junction box in this.
Yes.
Like, how am I going to install this junction
box? You need
box?
another wire in there because like it's going to have a fan and a light, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You need something for both.
Not for this one.
Oh, special.
Okay. Power. Its power is just
you got it free off. You got it free off Craigslist, and it was like special.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So the power is just an on-off, and the control is a little RF radio frequency that talks back and forth. It's pretty clever. Yeah.
Okay, that works. Yeah.
So
it's not a dial on the wall.
No, it's a wall-mounted remote, basically.
Okay.
And so then like I gotta go get this, and it's like I need longer screws, and it's just so the first thing was I went to Ace Hardware to get longer mounting screws to try and mount it to the original plate, and that didn't work. And now I'm in a Lowe's run to go get the junction box, and I got that up in there, and then I went looking for the screws to zip it into the tube to the framing of the house. And the screws I have are only like 1 3/4 inches, so I don't really trust them for what they're doing. And I'm like,
they gotta hold that thing in if it's gonna be.
I gotta go back to Lowe's and buy like some 2.5-inch screws. And I wish I could be like, oh, this is the first time this has ever happened to me, but it's not. Like, it's happened. We've all been on like our third trip to AutoZone on what was supposed to be just a simple water pump replacement on the car. Like, and it was we're gonna replace the water pump, refill the radiator, and we'll be able to drive the car to dinner tonight. And now it's 8:30. You just went ahead and ordered pizza. Your face is covered in smudges of oil. You started the day out wearing latex gloves because I don't want to get too messy. And that fucking went to shit pretty early on. And you're standing back in at the AutoZone trying to get like the gasket that you just bought earlier, but you installed the fucking thing backwards, and the gaskets are one-time use only. And like what we need, this is like the ideal thing for something like DoorDash to exist, or Instacart, to be able to just be like,
send me this thing.
I've gotten too deep on this project. I've embarrassed myself.
Yeah.
Let me just have a guy come bring this to my garage.
Yeah. While I drink a beer and like laugh at myself, that's what you need to do. Absolutely, man. When we were moving, there was stuff that needed to be fixed, you know, and like we were getting our house all fixed up before we sold it.
Mhm.
And just the amount of trips to Home Depot that I made that were just over and over and over again. And then like, yeah, you get it. You're hitting all the notes because it's the whole idea. You go down there and you think you're getting the right size of a thing, and then you get back and you're like, oh, it's not the right one. And then you got to go back and you get the right one, but then it's like, but that one needs an adapter, or that needs something else, or I don't have that tool to get that thing in, so I gotta get, you know, it's ridiculous. And like they know that, like, down those places make so much money off of those kind of things, like but that's also why they're so good at like returns, is because like you make those mistakes all the time. But the worst is like when you get the wrong paint, you know, because you can't really return paint. And where you're getting those things are, but it's like, yeah, so many times where you think it's going to be an easy install and then it's not, because you need, when you talk about AutoZone, and it's like you get a new stereo and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to get this stereo installed.
Yes.
I think every single vehicle I've ever owned that I ever put a new stereo in always was some weird, like that needed a fit kit of some sort, like a mounting kit that had to be ordered from some other place that was, you know.
Yeah.
I again, like, it's, yeah, big projects, slippery slopes. Like when I was going to bring my dog down here, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm sure there's some services to send an animal, because I have to pay for somebody down there to receive it, because it's got to go through the processing. Can't just take her with us because she's too. I have a golden doodle, and so she's too tall to go, you know, under the seat. So she'll have to go in cargo. I remember that project was a nightmare, because it was like, okay, it started off with like, okay, well, we're going to bring the dog. Of course, we're not giving the dog away. We're not, you know, she's part of the family. So then it was like, I looked it up, and it was like, I look up the TSA requirements, and I then go and buy I have to get like the biggest kennel I can get. Right. Cause she's just tall and lanky. So I gotta get the biggest one, because she's gonna have a certain amount of headroom and space above her. And I gotta get, you know, she's gotta have room to be able to turn around in it. And so this thing was like a beast. This thing could barely fit in the back of my van. And so I get this thing and I bring it home and I try it out. I'm like, this is great. So then I'm like, okay, well, that's checked off the list. Oh no, it wasn't. No, it was not. You see, the problem is that to get to Paraguay, we needed to go through Copa Airlines. And Copa Airlines, which is a fantastic airline, doesn't have the same size of planes. So they don't have the same size of cargo doors. So they had a maximum height for the cargo door. So I had to do all these calculations to get one that was tall enough to pass the TSA regulations, but short enough to get fit into the cargo doors of this plane. And it turns out that, like, they don't make that model. So I had to go and order a specialty plate that I could insert in between the top and the bottom with an extended gate on the front that was sold by the specialty company. I had to get it fast, so I had to get it express delivered. The thing cost me well over $500 just to get this kit. So I get this kit together. I finally get it all together. I get the dog. I bring the dog over to drop her off before our, like, it was like a night or two before our flight. She had to go to Montreal, and then they had to do the transfer from Montreal to go to Panama and then down to Paraguay. I get this call later from Montreal where they said that the TSA is rejected. It's not tall enough for the dog. The dog's there. It's not tall enough for the dog. And I'm like, guys, I measured it to exactly the way you told me to. I did everything right. But now you're saying it's not, they're like, it's okay. We've got another kennel that'll work for this. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, it'll only charge you this much. I'm like, I'm not paying for another kennel. You've now got my like now close to $1,000 kennel with all the crap.
Yeah,
I had
bells
to go
and
into
whistles.
this other thing. So they're like, okay, we'll keep that one, and then we'll send your dog with the. I'm like, just get my dog to Paraguay. By the time we get down to Paraguay, I'm never going to think about a kennel again. So we get her, like, we get down to Paraguay, and then like a day or two later, she clears the
Quarantine.
and we get our dog back, and sure enough, they give me the kennel that she came with. It's the same freaking model that I got, the giant one from the beginning, that I thought was too big for this plane. Apparently they got it on. Apparently they got it to work. But yeah, it was so much hassle. But it was like this small project of getting my dog down ended up being like 5 times more difficult than getting my entire family down and selling my house before we left. It was, but you know, she's a great dog. I'm glad she's here. But do you have any other Project Slippery Slope examples?
This one didn't happen to me, but so my coworker, he got this magnetic screen door thing so that he could leave his front door open, but the cats couldn't run out.
Yeah,
and he went, and it's a little package said 30 minutes installation, and you know, he goes to install it and discovers that like the sash of the door, there's been water has built up and it's kind of rotted away. And so it ended up taking him like 3 months of tearing stuff out, replacing the wood, then, you know, caulking it and painting it, and then finally getting this screen thing mounted in. By the time he actually had it installed, it was starting to get cold again, so he doesn't even need it. And it's like, that's the way I'm feeling about this ceiling fan. Is like, so as of today, I'm like 2 weeks into this project, after having gotten the ceiling fan months ago, and I'm like, am I going to get a ceiling fan installed before it starts getting warm and I want a ceiling fan again? Or am I just going to like, because the other part of it is, you know, so I probably could have done it all yesterday, but I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to go to Home Depot one more time. And now I'm in another week of shows. And so it's like, you're also kind of balancing back and forth between how much effort do I want to put into this like Sunday or Monday that I have off, when I really just kind of want to have the day off, you know? It's when you're working on your car, there's like a lot more impetus to get it done. When it's like some little house project around, it's like, I don't really care about this enough. I have enough like other chores that need to get done, of like the dishwasher and mopping the floors and, you know, cleaning the bathroom, that I can do all those and kind of like be happy in my home for another week. And the ceiling fan I can get back to. I've run into this with work projects all the time, so this is a great one. So in theater, we lay down a special dance floor. It's called Marley. It's kind of a rubbery material, resin. Essentially it's a little stickier than like a floor is, so dancers don't slip and fall.
Mm-hmm.
And so our Marley is a really high quality one. They bought it before I started there, but they bought a quality one. And one of the things that is like in maintaining it, we don't allow rosin, which is you know, they use it on violins and stuff to make things more sticky. Well, ballet dancers put it on their shoes to make their shoes more sticky. We don't allow it on our floor because it does degrade the floor over time, and it like leaves marks. And so we use a liquid rosin that we mop into the floor, so the whole floor is stickier than most other places. And so we had our annual Nutcracker in December, and we pull the Marley out, and it's time to clean it and rosin it, and there's no rosin in our liquid rosin has disappeared from the last time it was used. And it comes in like a big gallon. It comes in a gallon jug, and you put about a cup of it per gallon into your mop bucket, and our mop bucket holds like 3 gallons of water. So these gallon jugs last for years. And last year we still had half a gallon, and this year it's just gone. And not only was it gone, but our special Marley cleaner made by the company that manufactured the Marley, specifically to clean their Marley, also gone. And I'm livid because like last year I made a special pass at cleaning the floor and rosin the floor for this group so that people wouldn't fall down. Now this stuff is gone. And of course you can't just go to a store and buy it. So I'm having to like fall back on old stage managers tricks to create stickiness in the floor. So we ended up mopping our floor with a like a gallon or maybe it was like a 1.75 liter bottle of Tito's vodka added to our water. So it was like one part vodka, 1 part water, and it just peeled up all of the grease and sweat off of that floor. And it was like, this is its natural stickiness. This is as sticky as we can get it, because I'm not going to do the other trick where you pour a 2 liter of Coke into your mop water and you mop with that, because that brings flies and it's just gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just like, really, we're so lack of planning ahead that we didn't like buy just have a couple gallons of this laying around, which now we do. But it was just like, this was supposed to be a quick project of laying this floor, and then because laying the floor is a whole day of work, and then you clean it, and it's just like, why are we like this?
So you never found out where it went missing, eh?
No, I assume someone borrowed, because we went and checked some of the other dance studios. I assume someone was like, oh, I need this for a show, not in this theater, and I will get it back to them. And then they never brought it back to us, because that's a really common thing that has happened to us.
Really?
Like, yeah, last summer,
People just take things?
Last summer, someone came and took one of our borders, which are the curtains that go the whole length of the stage up above, and they hide any lighting or scenery that's up high.
That's kind of a major thing.
Yeah, came in and took it on a Saturday, didn't say anything to anybody, and then sent an email like a month later, like, oh, by the way, I borrowed this for a show in another space. I hope you don't mind.
That's
like,
a big mind.
Well, now I kind of do fucking mind.
Yeah. You could have gotten it back immediately afterwards, but you should have asked.
Yeah, you should have asked. I would have said yes. It wasn't a big deal, but yeah, it was the not asking. It did get returned immediately and didn't affect anything, but I was pretty annoyed. And yeah, so we've all been there, and it's just like that, you know, you're working on your car, you're doing an oil change or something, and you go in and you get, you know, an oil change kit, the big 5 quarts of oil and the filter and the crush washer. And then
you gotta get some fluids changed, or
you snap something off and you go back and you get like a bolt. But then that third time you're there and the same guy's there at AutoZone,
it's just
like, are you still working on the oil, on your same oil change? You're just like, yeah, man, I don't want to fucking talk about it. Just ring this shit up, scan my quick rewards thing, and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here and hopefully not be back here today.
Good issue, man. Good issue. Yeah, that's like very common issue that comes up a lot. I can't even deal with that here because like I'm boycotting the one main hardware store
after they screwed you with that pump.
Yeah, that's permanent. And you know, but like every time I go down, I'd be like, okay, there's this weird thing about Paraguayans. They think that if you space out the like getting all the things you need, that like equals like work. You know what I mean? It's like make work projects. And I'm always of the mindset like, no, I don't want to go down there every 3 days let's get everything we need day one.
Yeah.
Like day one. I don't want to go back, mark down everything. But like, no, gotta go back. Oh, we didn't get enough bricks, or they only sent a third of the bricks. Send all the bricks. Send all the cement. Send all of it. I want all of it. Why am I going there again? I hate going there. But yeah, it's those projects, man. They can take it a lot out of you too. That's for sure. Great issue, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure. Call in and leave your voicemail about whatever embarrassing recent project had you puzzling your head, and you know, standing back in the same aisle you were just in this morning at Home Depot, just like holding that connector. That's in one, the little like adapters in plumbing to get from one size to another, and you get the ones you think you need, and then you need a different one. You're just like,
I did the same thing when we were moving. I was renovating, and I thought, you know what will make this nicer is if I replace the fan with a fan with a light, or no, and then it was like, we took it all down. It was like, oh, you don't have the like proper wiring to do that. So we just decided, okay, screw it. No fan in this room, just a light. And as the heat was pouring on in the summer, I'm like, I hope the new buyers don't notice this because it doesn't have a fan here anymore anyway. So
cool. Well, this has been Here's What I Don't Get. Until next time, I'm Tab Burt.
I'm El Chaco.
We'll see you guys next time.
Ciao, ciao.
If you want to call into Here's What I Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can visit us in the Discord under voicemail upload. I actually haven't even looked at the voicemail channel to see if there are voicemails yet today. I normally do that at the beginning of the episode, and
we jumped right into it.
I got slammed in traffic. There was an accident on the highway that not on my side that made my side of the highway a fucking parking lot, and I wanted to just like have ICE come and deport everyone involved. It's like, so
all 800 in one day.
One of the nice things about my commute is that I'm usually against the like major flow of traffic, so I get home pretty quickly even if I leave work at 5. And today I sat on the highway for I think 25 minutes, which is normally more time than it takes me to get home. And it was even more frustrating because it was not on our side. It was on the other side of the highway where the traffic all is. And it was just people on my side being like, what do they got going on? What are you guys doing over there? You guys getting a little crash? Like, fuck every one of you.
Ugh. Buck brought in rubberneckers back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird one, but it's like there's certain things that I do get, but it's like it fucking annoys me. So I'll kind of let you guys maybe put this in a category because it's definitely not here's what I don't get. But anyways, so it's like Costco. Love shopping at Costco, but lately they've just been shifting shit all around the stores. And you know, like normal person might be like, oh wow, why don't they just kind of keep things in the same place that they always are? And it's like, well, Costco does it because it gets you looking at new and different things. Like, you're like, shit, the bread's not where it normally is. Let me go hunt it down and, oh, hey, look at that. Something I've never seen before. So it's like, it kind of works against people like me and Tab and maybe you too, Chaco, but it's like, it's just fucking frustrating and annoying. And it's like, I get it, but at the same time, it fucking sucks. And then, what was the other one? What was the other one? I can't fucking remember the other one, but I'll call back when I remember it.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that too.
The grocery store that I normally go to, they just like remodeled and rearranged where everything is, and some of the signs up above got moved and some didn't. And so I was looking for stuff for stir fry. It's not in the normal spot that it used to be. And so then I'm going to the signs and looking at the signs up high, and
they're wrong.
And it had the Asian food label, and I'm like, this isn't normally over in pharmacy shit. And sure enough, it's just pharmacy shit. I was like,
did you have to get an employee to help you?
No, I just circled the aisles until I ended up finding it.
I had one that pissed me off so bad because I used to love going to thrift stores. Love going to thrift stores. I go in Canada, it was Value Village, and then I go to the Goodwill. Right? I love going to the thrift stores because that's where I get like old DVDs and I get old like CDs to put on in the van. And I used to buy a lot of used books. And I used to, for a while there, I used to be able to resell on Amazon. And I had this scanner that I could do, and I could just go and just scan the barcode on the back of the book, and it would tell me what it was selling for on Amazon at that time. And if it met my threshold of making a profit off of it, I would buy the book. Right. And so I was doing that for a while, and it was a pretty good little side hustle. And Goodwill. So at Goodwill, I knew which types of books you tended to do better, and they had them all by their category, right?
Mhm.
And also for myself, like I would always like to go. I would go to the religious books section and see if I could find any good like old school Catholic books. Or I had a thing where I would like to gift to people like books that I already had that I could find in there. So, for example, like The Imitation of Christ is always like a good one to pass on to people because it's just like a rereadable, amazing book. But the head of Goodwill thought that people weren't going to the book sections anymore, that like they weren't looking through to see everything that was there. So he had this genius idea that he would mix all of the sections together into like the shelves
Mhm.
and then rotate by the day new books in on the thing, so you'd have to look at all the shelf at all the time. It pissed me off so much, man. It was such a big pain in the ass. I was like, who thought this was a good idea? Oh,
Yeah.
they did some research on this and they figured this would get people buying books more. I'm like, I'm not buying any more books from you now. Like this
It's
is
like
a pain in the ass.
Walmart has those big bins where they just dump DVDs in there, and it's
Yeah.
like you can
I
sort
like those
through.
bins for the most part. They're kind of fun.
But it's like
Sometimes.
there's no way to tell what's in there, and it's like if you just turn everything and put it spine up, so that I could look through and be like, oh hey, there's a movie I liked it, as opposed to having to like dig through like a minor. My dad and
Yeah.
I once we stacked one of those bins, so everything was stacked spine up, and we
Yeah.
came back a couple days later and
And
it
they
was
messed
back
it
to
all up.
being the big mess. And it's
Yeah.
just like that means employees had to, and we went to see if maybe they had just been a mess put on top of our. No,
Nope.
they had like
Nope.
pulled
Every
all
single
of the
one.
rows out and made
Yeah,
a
because they
huge thing.
want you stuck there doing that. That's
Yeah.
what they want.
Yeah.
And so you can look at the covers.
Yeah.
Annoying.
I got another one. I think he remembered what he was going to say.
All right,
Okay.
I remember the other thing that's like, anyways, hopefully you played my first voicemail, so this one
We did.
makes more sense. So the other example was, at one point I was, quote, donating plasma, for money. Basically, they would give you money and shit. And, if you don't donate for a while, they're like, oh, hey, we need your generosity. Here's, $500 if you donate however many times. And it's like I get a fucking email, and it's like, it pays to do the right thing, and it's like, oh, really? Does it? So it's like kind of one of those things where it's like you're seeing through the bullshit, and it's like, yeah, I get it. You're trying to like pull at my heartstrings, but guess what, motherfucker? That's not going to work. Pay me more. Anyways, yeah, that was it. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you ever donated plasma or blood?
I did when I was probably 19, I think, trying to make money any way that I possibly could.
Did it pay well? I don't know that.
Not really. No, you could do it like 2 or 3 times a week, and I want to say maybe it was like $50 or $100 per thing.
That's not bad. That's not.
Yeah,
bad.
maybe it was less than $100, but I was trying to get money to go on vacation.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I should, but I haven't. I've never donated blood, and
I donated blood in high school. I think I've donated blood a couple of times at like blood drives. I did it in high school, and I think I might have done it in college too.
You got some of that good blood that they like with the.
No, I'm B positive, which is very ironic.
I'm O positive, so
yeah,
I can only receive O's, and that's it.
Yeah, but they like your blood.
They like
anybody,
mine. Yeah, it's not that or even that rare. I looked into it. It's like, no, we're actually one of the more common ones.
So what I hate, I fucking cannot stand in movies, and they're like, yes, this person has a very rare blood type. They're AB positive. I'm like, yeah, they can literally get all of the blood.
Yeah, they can receive anybody's at any time.
Not that rare. Please stop. Please go to take a middle school biology class before you write your medical dramas. One last one.
Sure.
Hey guys, so I was listening to the latest episode. You're kind of like talking about the new phrases, Chaco, you came up with that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're really good and I like them. But partially why everything's kind of going to shit with video games and like products and everything, and I mean I've been seeing it in my industry. I work in manufacturing, and it's just they're cutting corners. It's all profit driven. it's like, you know, they don't care anymore about making a good product. It's, can we make a product that people are going to buy, and how cheap can we make it to just maximize profits? It's like in my company, it's like everybody's cross-trained. Everybody knows. I mean, I could do practically almost every job in my fucking company, but, you know, we're always short-staffed, and they're always like today, fucking, you know, this entire week, there's like slowdowns where it's like, all right, you know, let me sit tight. We're going to figure out something you could do. And it's like, all right, well, you can catch up on this. I mean, we already got the units we need for the month, but just keep doing it. And that happened, you know, Monday through Thursday. We work 4/10. So Friday is, you know, supposed to be a day off, and most of the time it ends up being overtime. Well, this entire fucking week, we've had a project that's been sitting on a cart for the past 2 weeks that had everything needed and ready to be fucking done. And, you know, instead of, like, kind of prioritizing shit and, you know, like, hey, let's get this done, it's like, nah, we'll save that for Friday. You guys can come in, get started on it. Oh, by the way, for the last hour of the day, on what was supposed to be your day off, you get to clean. So, sorry for the rant at the end there. But, yeah, it's just literally, and actually, that's what it was. It was with this latest, with the helicopter crashing into the airplane. Apparently, I don't know if this is true, I just saw the headline, but the guy that was monitoring it, like, he was doing the job of, like, 2 other people. And that's literally, so it all just compounds into inevitably
Not like air traffic control.
So,
is
or a
not
product,
the hardest.
rather, so hopefully that all made sense.
Yeah, that was actually a great example of shflation. Is so that specific tower too is supposed to have like 35 employees, and they only have about 19. And because
that whole
turnover,
story is just it's so nuts and so crazy.
Yeah,
but it's like, okay, he brought up about the point about like it's all about profit margin. It's like, okay, I'm about to like take on like the golden calf of capitalism, because I know a lot of people are real pro capitalism, and I'm not a communist, I'm not a socialist, but like, man, oh man, like, because I work with the stocks, like with the stock market all the time, and I brought this up before. It's like a business that makes enough money to make a profit and pay its employees on a regular basis is dying if it's not growing.
Yeah,
and they have to grow every single time. It's got to be, you know, and it's like a company could have made a profit, but then their stock will go down because the market decided that it didn't grow enough to, and so then it's got to play catch up. And it's just like,
well, it's like Arizona iced tea, right?
Game.
There's people are like, Arizona iced tea. Why do you still only charge $1? And because they own all of their equipment for manufacturing, they have no debt, and that's what it costs. Yes, they could charge more than $1 for it because every other drink in the cabinet.
We don't have to,
but they don't have to. And that, like, yeah, that pursuit of total growth on everything, and it's become it used to be like, okay, we've reached new markets, and now it's become artificial in that, you know, 30 years ago they figured out that they really couldn't grow that much. And so the only other way was to start reducing costs. I read a really interesting article about how beef processing, it used to be a union job, and it used to be like it was a working class blue collar job that had a reasonable pay. You were protected by a union, and it was a union job because you were trained. If you joined the union, you were trained to do all of it. You could take a whole cow, and there was like a test where you basically had to get every cut out of a whole cow,
which is not easy.
Yeah,
it's a hard job.
So the like meat processing and packing, you would not do the same job every day. You would kind of rotate through because you were cross-trained and knowing how to do it all. And then the Iowa beef producers figured out that if they just paid, they could pay less than union wages and just have a person do one cut. Because if you train them just to do one cut, it's really easy. Well, it turns out people don't really like doing 40 hours of the exact same movement, and doing the same unnatural movement every day is not good for your body. And so they burnt through, and then more and more producers started picking this same model because these guys are making way more money because their costs are way lower. And then they burn through the entire market of Americans that are willing to do this slop job that's physically demanding. And so then they start using underpaid immigrant labor, and then they like slowly work their way through different demographics of immigrant labor because they are just like killing their employees in order to get an extra buck. And it's like, make beef cost what it costs, and let me know that someone is like living a fulfilling and whole life doing it. But instead we've like created this artificial growth of exporting all of the shit jobs to other countries, or using basically slave labor to do it, so that our GDP keeps growing. And it's like, I don't really give a shit about the GDP.
Nobody
I give a
cares about
shit that the
GDP.
people around me aren't working 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet for no fucking reason.
But they've brainwashed the masses to the point where they can think that like if the GDP is going down or is not growing, then we're gonna, elect a different public official. Like it's like job preservation for the politicians. But man, have you ever read much about like Henry Ford and like his innovations?
Yeah.
Okay, so like he made so many big changes, but he actually got sued by Dodge,
Yeah.
the Dodge brothers, and he got sued because that whole law that a CEO must do everything on
For the
behalf of the shareholders,
Yeah.
right? That
It
came about because of Henry Ford, because of the Dodge brothers suing him, and they got that law put in place because Henry Ford saw that they were churning through so many employees because you train somebody to do the job and then they would leave the job because they hated the job because it didn't pay enough or it got really boring. So it was a lot similar to that beef example you gave, but he was paying them enough and then they were actually happy to stay on. So he didn't have to train as many workers, and he invented the 40-hour work week, which I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse, but they were able to cover 24 hours of car manufacturing because people were paid wages enough to fill the shift.
Yeah.
And so they would only work an 8-hour shift, and they had another person come in and another person come in. And so they were actually able to make thousands and thousands more cars per year because of these innovations. And he got slammed for it. And he was paying them a living wage. And his idea was, if I pay my workers a living wage, they'll buy my cars.
Yeah.
They'll buy houses in the area, and they'll
put in the effort, the extra little thing to make sure it's done right. You take care of your employees and they will make sure that the shit is done right. You treat your employees like shit that are just recyclable, that you can be replaced with anybody. They have no fucking loyalty to you. The next guy, the guy that says, if you're paying me $15 an hour, the guy that says he'll pay me $16 an hour to do something slightly less mundane, I'm going there immediately.
That's why, I've looked into a lot of different, my degrees in economics, and I've looked into like a lot of different economic plans and different things. And my favorite is voluntarism. It was actually really highly touted by G.K. Chesterton. And it's the idea that you want to encourage more owners than you want an abundance of owners. So it's a lot more like co-ops. Again, not socialism. It's not communism. It's the idea that you want to incentivize the workers by letting them have a piece of the action, letting them have like a share in the company. Like that's why I like, I really like those things where you get like a share, like a share option or something like that when you work for a company, because it gives you a little bit of pride in your work. And, you can see if it does well, I'm going to do well. Yeah. And so that's what happened in Taiwan with the Taiwanese economic miracle, after they took a big tanking. That what they went in is they found all these massive corporations that were doing all the farming, and they actually broke them up and made it so that a lot more of the smaller farmers were able to get back to work and doing their own thing. And it actually made their economy do well. And it's because of stuff like this. It's because of stuff like this, where basically if you're just going to nickel and dime and coin shave your way through to just eke out a little bit more profit, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, we're watching everything go into collapse mode. It's just a matter of time. I know that people have been saying that for now like 15, 20 years, but it is true. Like you can only do quantitative easing so many times. You can only bump up these certain things. Like at a certain point in time, you can't have infinite growth.
Yeah.
At a certain point in time, you're going to have to like ease back a bit, and it's going to hurt, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see in these next 30 days what's going to happen with this trade war in Canada with the United States and all this kind of stuff. I think it's just bluster. I think it's all not going to come to fruition at this point now, because I didn't think Trudeau was going to bend the knee so quick, but I think Trump won this one, and good on him for doing so. So,
yeah.
Anyways, those are good issues to the voicemail hotline. I like that, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for sharing. Awesome.
Yep, that's it. That's the episode this week. Stay tuned. We'll be putting out some more later this month. And thanks for listening.
God bless. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.